How do you?
Happy 30 Tuesday.
Happy 30 Tuesday.
Welcome. I am Tanya, aka Teeth Duppy.
I am Nikki, aka Countess Nicula.
And we are 1,000 Eyes on Them. How do I make this banner go away? Okay, there we go.
I don't know.
I don't know how to do that.
Well, whoops. Today we are doing one of my favorite spooky movies.
And we're reading from my essay titled, Why Are Vampires So Horny?
AKA Bram Stoker's Dracula. I am embarrassed to say that up until an hour ago, I did not know this was a novel by Irish author Bram Stoker. I thought Bram Stoker was a director. I didn't know, so I checked it out from the library, obviously, and I will be reading it later today, along with The Vampire's Guest and The White Worm or something.
So when I started watching, I had said I'd never seen it before, but when I started watching it, I realized I have started it before. I had just never finished it. And the reason I never finished it was I love Keanu. I do, as a person.
But his British accent sucks ass.
I was like, I can't watch this. And then I forgot all about it until you wanted to do it for 30 Tuesday.
The great thing about it is that he's only in the movie for a total of like 9.5 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Every time I start to watch it, I'm like, oh yeah, that part. Not very good at, like, it's, you know, he's one of those actors that people are like, he's always like Keanu Reeves. He's never like whoever.
Yeah.
Kind of like Nicolas Cage is always just like Nicolas Cage. But yeah, no, we learned in this movie he cannot do accents, and I believe it may have been the last time he tried. Yeah.
He's also like, his face stays the same through the whole movie, no matter what he's going through.
Oh yeah, no, he's but I feel like that's all of his shit. And I'm not mad at it, because
that's kind of why he was perfect for John Wick, but now I'm going on a tangent.
Yeah, I mean, he's in the movie. Is it really a tangent if we're talking about actors who starred in it? Oh, speaking of, I want to shout out an actor, aka musician, I suppose, who's in it. Tom Waits, which is he right? Yeah. And as Renfield, because I feel like we're not going to really talk about Renfield, but let's start off with Renfield and be like, shout out to Renfield, because imagine being promised eternal life and having it thrown away for like a random chick.
That's another movie we should watch. We should talk about. Yeah.
Since we're talking about Nicolas Cage. I did. Yeah. I don't think I finished it, but it's one of those things. It's like when you watch a Nicolas Cage movie, you have to be prepared for the fact that you're watching a Nicolas Cage movie, you know? Actually, one second.
While she's gone, now's my chance. Oh, never mind. She's back.
Oh no, we're gonna talk shit. I still had my headphones on. Yeah. So it's one of those things I just had to prepare myself for, because I do enjoy them now that I realize like what his thing is, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so Renfield, just like in the insane asylum, he's like, y'all, I'm not crazy. The like Prince of Darkness is literally coming here, and you know, he ruined my life. So I always feel bad for him, and I love Tom Waits' portrayal of Renfield, because often when you get him, he's like either really whimsical or really kind of bumbling, and he's neither of those things here, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, he was just, it's like he's telling the truth, but he is still kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you hang out, I only speak the truth. It's kind of like fuck. I was gonna say somebody, and now I can't remember who it was. Oh well, I'm sure it'll come back to me. Yeah. So shout out to Tom Waits' Renfield. No, so let me ask you, if you've seen it before and you stopped because the accent was a deterrent, which fair enough.
No, I think it wasn't just the accent. Like, I think this was a long time ago, and I didn't even remember that I started it. It's just when I started watching it this time, I remembered the beginning, And I think
Oh.
I was just like, I think I started it and I was like, oh God, I'm not watching this shit. And I just like didn't give it a chance at all the first time.
Mm. But now that you have,
Now that I have, I don't think it's like bad. It's campy. I like camp.
mm-hmm.
Um,
Hey,
is that your TV?
no, that's the people outside.
Oh, I was like, what are you listening
It
to?
was like 80 degrees here today, so everybody in Brooklyn is in summer mode. And
Mm,
so the person across the street is either waiting for their drive-through uh, White Castle or picking somebody up.
cool,
So,
cool. I see they decided
and,
to turn the volume all the way up.
oh yeah,
Um,
I can feel the bass in my toes.
I believe you. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's campy. I would watch it again. Um, I yelled a lot at the TV,
Why? Why did you
mostly
yell at
at
the TV?
Mina.
Oh, we'll get to her. Okay, fair.
I have some things to say about Mina.
Mina, Mina, Slutterina.
Like, I'm like, girl, now you're proving why women need chaperones.
Well, we knew she was. Oh, let's fuck it. Let's get into Mina. We knew that she was hot in the pants from jump. Like
Mm-hmm.
the way Jonathan was like, babes, I want to like buy a house and make money, and this is a great gig. And she's like, okay, cool. I want to get married too, but can we just stick it in one time before you go? And he's like, no, we got it. A priest. And she's like, but what
Meanwhile,
if
he
I
gave it
rub
up
my
for the
pee against your
vampirinas.
V like with these clothes on? And he's like, no, 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 dear. Don't worry. There'll be time enough for that when we are wed. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
She was a bit hot in the pants, and her
Bit hot,
friend.
but she was hanging out with horny friends. It's like what I imagine it being had me and Tanya met earlier in life. I would be hanging out with my horny friend Tanya, and she would have been like trying to like always like hosing me down.
I'd be like, "Come with me to church
I'd be
Friday
like,
night, youth
do you know what
group."
we could do there? I do have friends who had sex in the church once instead of coming to Sunday school.
I
Goats,
could not.
goats.
I feel like I'd
Nothing
be struck
happened
by
to them.
lightning.
The only thing that happened is that they broke up later.
I couldn't
Oh
do it.
no.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Mina was pissing me off. I'm
Mina,
like, see,
Florina.
you're like, now you're making it valid that women have to have chaperones when they go out because look how you're behaving.
What? I mean, and he had a good point. He's like, why are you in these streets by yourself?
Yeah, why was she in the street? Like, you don't have a father? This isn't
You
this
know
isn't
why
the
she was in the
80s
streets, Tanya?
because she belongs to the streets.
No, 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 no. She had a very important task to accomplish. And my theory is that she saw Beastie Dracula having sex with Lucy and went and got that tansy tea. Because she had
Ooh.
that vial. It was wild carrot, Queen Anne's lace, like whatever it is that you use. Look those up. They actually look those up. But yeah, I think she went to get that tansy.
So that her friend wouldn't give birth to a puppy.
Hmm. Pretty much. Let me talk about Dracula for a second.
Yes, let's talk
So,
about Dracula and his updo.
um,
Who does his
so
hair? Like, does somebody come over every day and style his hair, or does he
he's
wake up and just like get his bobby pins out and his
I don't
fucking
even think he
foam and
needs to, but
start?
maybe that's why his vampire minion chickies, or like maybe that's like their one job besides keep this guy hold, like don't let him leave. You can eat him, but like don't kill him. And also do my hair at sunset. Um, yeah, I really so I've seen this movie a bunch of times. I've always loved vampires, so it was one of my favorites. I liked it because it was they leaned more heavy into the love story. Like, sure, there's murder and shit, but like they leaned into that. And I love the opening because, like, just as far like cinematically, like, yeah, it's campy. It's like they're playing a lot with like shadows and stuff. Like I'm
Mhm.
imagining like little shadow puppets and cutouts and stuff. But I really like that because I love any way that you can treat really gruesome scenes without having to like just show the blood everywhere. And I thought
Yeah.
that like cinematically it was a really clever way to do it, even though it might come off corny at first. But when you're thinking about like what it is that they're trying to do, and especially if they're trying to like tell his backstory, like do we really want to see people get flayed like IRL, like movie wise? Or would you rather see a shadow of somebody sliding down the pole upon which they were impaled? Give me
Yeah,
a shadow.
that was definitely gruesome in a cool way.
Yeah, Vlad the Impaler, you know?
Yeah.
Um, but I felt really bad for him. Like they were all kissy kissy, like, oh my God, my love, da 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 da,
Hey,
which is
hey, AK.
hey. But then in a way that I was like, oh my God, these like their hearts burn for each other. And then he goes
Yeah.
away and he fights this thing and like murders everybody because he's like out there doing the shit for God. And he comes back and he is like, wow, hast thou forsaken me? And
I feel like he kind of raised the bar. Nikki, if I pass away before you and my husband, and he doesn't curse God upon finding out about my death, beat him. That's the
he's
kind of
bigger
reaction
than
I
me.
need. That's okay. He won't hit a woman. This is getting dark. No, but I was like, yes,
What would you like
yes.
me to beat him? Like, leave that in your will too. You know, I like specifics.
Yeah, a belt. I'll have a
Okay.
specific belt.
About okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, all right. Your children will be bigger than me too, and they might try to stop me, but I'm gonna have to have somebody hold
Garvey
them back.
wouldn't.
He might be like, pass that to me.
My turn. No, like he definitely you know, their terrifying, passionate love. You know, she hears of his death and flings herself into a river. Like I love that drama. I
I
love
love
it.
when she's drunk on absinthe and she's like, her face is a river, and I was like, the poetry, man, the poetry. But yeah, I mean, I'm not like the thing is like they tricked. It was like Romeo and Juliet shit. They're like, your husband's dead, blah blah blah, and she goes, right? But he gets home and he's like, yo, I fought this war for you, God. What the fuck? You couldn't even keep my girl alive while I was gone. Like I did all these
And then for
horrible,
them to tell
horrible things for you.
him because she took her own life
She can't be
that
saved.
she's damned. Like hell yeah, turn into an immortal monster and wreak havoc for the next
Like,
400
how
years.
dare you?
Yes,
The fact that
that
he
is the
didn't.
proper reaction. So I
I
respect
believe
that.
so. I do too.
I
I'm
respect
like,
that.
take it. Like, you did
Of
everything in
course,
the name of
sister.
this one part, this name of this God, and then, like, you're not even gonna save her soul. Like, I did this for you.
Right. So yeah, I too would turn into an immortal monster and haunt people for the
Who would
next
do your hair
400
though?
years. I does that's the question. Does Dracula wear a bonnet or does
I
he use
hope
a
so.
headscarf? He probably needs like the headscarf.
I'm thinking a big bonnet, like the type that you use like when you have braids, except instead of hanging back, it goes up. Like the type of like the Marge Simpson bonnet.
I was thinking like a hair scarf so that he can keep the front part flat
Mm.
and then a bonnet over it so he can tuck the long part into the bonnet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, let's give it a try. Need someone to come give us the ill bouffant.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So out here comes Jonathan Harker trying to participate in capitalism, earn that money, so he and his girl can settle down. And he leaves and he travels across the sea on a boat and then on train. And I guess he didn't do a trip advisor to figure out what was going on in that part of the world, because he gets there, or talk to like, okay, pause. So if you were going to go across the world to Transylvania, which at this point is not storied in its like terror,
Mm-hmm.
um it's not like, do not go there, very scary, demon
Right.
women, crazy wolves.
Right.
There were no reviews. And but this guy who used to work for your firm came back and was like insane. like, I wanna go see him before I go. Like, even if he's,
Hey,
like, legit
bro,
crazy, I
what
wanna
made
know
you
what
crazy?
happened.
What
Like,
happened to you there?
did something go like, was it him?
I mean, I have simply never loved a job enough to risk my sanity.
I don't know, I feel like sometimes they come for you whether you were willing to risk it or not.
All right, let me rephrase. I've never loved a job enough to intentionally risk my sanity.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I would have gone to see Renfield. I would have paid him a visit. I would be like, "Yo, good. What's good? My guy. My guy."
My guy,
What happened
what's
there?
poppin'?
But he just went. He got up the thing. He got in the thing. He was riding in the carriage there, and they're like, "Whoop, last stop." And he was like, but," and they're like, "This coach will go no further." And then the chick gave him
Yeah,
a rosary and was like,
worst business trip ever.
"Man,
When Dracula told him like, well, when he's first of all when he talks about like his fighting for God and Harker gives
your
that
ways
little
are not
laugh,
our ways."
and he gives that little laugh, and he pulls the sword out, and he's like,
Yo.
I was laughing so hard I rewound it. So it was like the drama.
It would make an excellent GIF,
It was
actually, if
so
it's not already.
dramatic. Like what a reaction.
Dude,
I love how dramatic he played him.
I love Gary
Like he's
Oldman in this
so
period.
yeah, he was so over the top in everything he did, and I just loved it.
It's like what you expect from Dracula. Yeah, like
Yeah,
in my concept of him. I have a question. Because you hadn't seen this movie all the way through, now having seen it and being a fan of Dracula Dead and loving it, did a lot of things make sense?
a lot of things like what?
Like the shadow acting of its own accord.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I picked up on that right away, and I was like,
yeah,
"Oh, spooky."
yeah.
I like that. Yeah, I was into
Mhm.
that. And then when the vampire women, at first I thought he was hallucinating, and then I realized like, no, these are like vampire women like coming up, and he wasn't exactly fighting them off.
I mean, it feels no, he wasn't.
So side eye to you, Jonathan. Wasn't exactly fighting them off.
Was Jonathan a virgin before marriage? Do you think he maybe got a little blowy at like one of the brothels, like when he
I
turned
think so.
16?
Based on his reaction to three vampires trying to all screw him at the same time, I think he definitely was not a virgin.
Or maybe
Because
he was.
he wasn't
And
like,
was
oh,
like,
I must save
overwhelming.
myself for my fiance. He
I
was
mean,
like,
but when
oh
everybody's
shit.
got a hand on your cock, do you really stop them?
If you want to stay faithful, yeah.
But what about when they rise out of your
He,
bed
sh-
sheets?
he should have been like, unhand me, wench.
Yeah, after like straying into the part of the castle where like he didn't even
Unhand me,
have
you
furniture.
toothy wench. Yeah, that's what he should have said.
The mattress is on the floor and they're rising from within. I'm like, you know
He's
what? I'm
just
out of
like
my
leaning
depth.
back.
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, he's just leaning back, opening his legs, like, excuse me. But
He's
Mina was
tossing
no
them.
better.
No, no, no.
Mina was,
Mina
they're
was
both
for
trash.
it.
They were
Yeah.
both trash. Those
Maybe
freaky
they
frogs
belong
belong
together.
together. Yeah, they belong together.
Yeah, there are like other little things that happen in that first encounter with him where Dracula's inviting him in, and we're used to like seeing Dracula
Being
vampires being
invited.
invited in the opposite
Yeah.
way. He's like, come in here, and he's like, leave a little bit of your happiness behind. And I was like, but my
It would
favorite part of that movie is like that line. He's like, I am Dracula. And I'm like, yes,
I
every
liked
single time.
I liked when he invited him for dinner and was like, he ate already, and he's like, I don't drink wine.
Wine. Speaking of wine, cheers. Happy 30 Tuesday.
Happy 30 Tuesday. Cheers. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Almost to our final 30 Tuesday of the season.
Yeah.
Well, spooky season, that is. Yeah. So, yeah, no, the invitation, the whole dinner scene was just so well done. I love getting to know the shadow and being like, okay, this is weird. And if that wasn't weird, the fact that he sliced his palm open and it did not bleed, but was covered in hair.
Yeah. Yeah, Jonathan didn't ask enough questions for me.
No, he didn't.
I would have.
He
I mean,
didn't.
the thing is, it's like I would have wanted to try to sneak out at that point, but then I'd remember the wolves.
Yeah. I love the wolves. I love, and we hear the wolves later, and I like that. I can't wait to read this, but I can't. I like that. Often in vampire lore, especially in things that are like staying true to like to I guess what now I realize is the inspiration from this book
Hmm.
has gone on to influence just like vampire lore because 1897. So from 1897 on has gone on to influence vampire lore, but was just like the sounds of the wolves howling and like the concept of hellhounds. Because if you watch Dark Shadows, every time Barnabas Collin emerges or every time that motherfucker's up to no good, you hear like the hounds. And people are like, do you
Mm.
hear the hounds? I'm like, bitch, stay home. Why are you leaving the house? You've been kidnapped before. Like, why? Um, but yeah, so I think that's the thing I like the most about this movie is that it's just like all I guess like if Bram Stoker gave birth to like all the vampire shit, like you get to see it and they do a really good job of capturing it here. But yeah, Spooky Castle. You know that shit was cold. It was also given who, Tanya? Who did it remind you of?
Who remind me of Dracula?
The whole castle and Jonathan scenes with the shit and the things.
It reminded me of Damon.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Very Harrenhal.
Damon at Harrenhal, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when
I
I was
did.
watching it today, I was like, oh, we're gonna talk about that. It's gonna be deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminded me of Damon at Harrenhal. Um, just all of the spooky things he was seeing.
The spooky things he was seeing, the things that
Hold
you're
on
like,
one second.
his losing his grasp on reality and not like just caught somewhere in the in betweensies. Like, are you strangling your child? To be, I'm just joking, obviously, but to be caught somewhere in the in betweensies, where you're like, am I really going crazy? Is this really happening? There's no one else I can talk to this about. It's just me. Like right now on the stream, it's just me. Check out my red contacts. Spooks, spooky, spooky, spooky. But yeah, it's just me here, and I don't know how to deal with this. And obviously, this man is dangerous. And what do you do about it? Like, what can you do about it? He's got a sword. He obviously knows how to fight.
Yeah, at this point
He
he's stuck. Like, where's
he's
he gonna go?
where's he gonna go? The wolves are there. Like I guess the doors are locked during the day. But I also love that they did a good job. They made a point that said, listen, we know everybody thinks that vampires can only go out at night, but actually they can walk the streets during the day, which we get to see.
Yeah, that I was like, wait a minute, what's he doing outside in the daytime?
Hmm.
Why could
And
he
I
be out in the day?
and I love that because actually in lots of vampire stories, like so we know Blade, the Daywalker, but often vampires are able to walk around during the day. And I love that they did that. Like you see it also in like the Vampire Diaries and Interview with the Vampire, where they've continued with that. Like they're not relegated to the night, which I
Well,
really
no, in
appreciate
Interview
and
with a
makes them.
Vampire, they don't go out in the
Oh wait,
day.
no, they don't go out during the day. Okay, Vampire Diaries. And I like
Twilight, I think they just twinkle in the day. I didn't watch it, but I think that's what
their
I read.
Stormlight is showing.
This
Boom. um, but yeah, I like them. I like them as people who could actually be an active part of society, and I think that makes them even scarier
Mm-hmm.
because you're out here with your pet wolves seducing wayward women.
And of
Mina,
course,
Mina,
he appears
Slutterina.
to Mina as the younger version of himself. Why
Mhm.
was he able to age?
Because he was out not able to get his. I feel like Dracula was like gonna be faithful to Mina no matter what and across the ages. Wait, my other favorite line. I crossed oceans of time to find you.
I love Dracula's devotion, and like that's great, but it's
You
fuck
love
Mina.
animal.
It's fuck Mina over here. I'm
You
sorry.
love what about his like I'll kill everybody and like ward rape your best friend stuff
That part wasn't okay.
and kill her kind of.
Yeah, none of that was okay. It's like I get.
Just so
I'm
we know
happy
there's not
that
a
you.
moral gray here.
Yeah, like I'm happy that you're in love. I want that for everybody who wants it, you know.
Mhm.
However, you're going a little too far. Um, maybe tone it down as far as the other people. Like
Maybe write me a
the
sonnet.
right, write me a song, you know? Maybe a poem.
Yeah.
Read to me. I don't know. Like
I would
draw me a nice
100% fall for
picture.
someone
Send
who
me a
wanted to
dick
read for
pic.
me.
Like
I would just be like,
can Dracula even send a dick pic?
I imagine Dracula to have like the most gorgeous dick.
Based on what his face and hands look like, I would feel the opposite.
Oh, I'm
But I
talking
wonder would
about
the
young Dracula, like
oh,
not
young
like
Dracula maybe. But I meant like would the camera even pick it up?
mm, only if it was a mirrorless camera. Lots of cameras have mirrors in them, like the DSLRs of it. So you can get a mirrorless camera, and maybe that would work. Or maybe he just like hypnotized some like incredible like Leonardo da Vinci to come like paint it for
Just
him.
paint it.
And he
Want to
like
see that
carries
in
it.
a museum?
What are those little things called?
Then
The
the
like the
locket.
locket, but like there's a name for those things. But yeah, like a locket to be like one picture of him, one picture of the dick. Lest you forget. I would
Well, now,
100% smash
now I know what to
vampires
ask
completely
for
down.
Christmas.
Uh,
I want a dick pic locket. I'm not gonna get a dick pic locket,
you're not gonna get one. You're not gonna get one. I still
but I'm
want you
gonna
to ask
ask.
though.
I'm gonna ask.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna ask, and then I'll screenshot the response for you.
Can't wait to read it. You might not even get a response. He might just
That's
like
true.
talk
I
about
might
the
just get
weather
blocked.
next. He'd be like, yeah, so did the kids eat today?
Right? Just move on.
Yeah, no, I was just for the record, I would absolutely have vampire sex.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why are vampires so horny?
Because the whole act of being a vampire is horny, right? There's lots of penetration involved in becoming it and like the exchange of fluids and stuff. So by nature, being a vampire means that you have to like put things in your mouth and take them out. So, I mean, it's like they didn't have a choice. They didn't have a choice. I'm
Because
not
I'm
mad.
like, y'all don't just like play Scrabble sometimes.
I bet they do. I bet vampires are really good at Scrabble. I bet that, like I told you, my uncle who's like good at making those 2-letter words account for like 19 points. Like they'd be like, look that up in the dictionary. It was all the rage in 1902. And you're like, fuck. Yeah.
That's funny.
I love that this
Yeah,
is
like
like
they were
4
just like
centuries after.
he
I
had
love it.
his 3 wives there and like or whatever the concubines.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, all right, I guess a man has needs or whatever. I wondered how old they are. Like I kind of wondered what their story was, like who are these women?
I
How
mean,
long
maybe
has
he
he
writes
had
about them
them?
in one of the other books. And I wasn't really like, I know that Van Helsing was like, oh, the concubines of the devil, blah, 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 Satan's bitch. And I was like, you gonna let him talk about your girl like that?
Right?
But I was really, I am curious to know about them. Like one of them was just like, like all beautifully cast. Like, I get it, Jonathan. I get it. But yeah, like it'd be nice to know their story. And it's just like I was talking when you were out, I was just talking about Jonathan and all the weird things that he was seeing, and just like, am I going crazy? Like, I feel like Dracula actually invented gaslighting.
Maybe.
He's like, oh yeah, no, stay here, write these letters. This say exactly this, and then look out your window and watch me crawl down the wall. Yeah, so creepy. This movie, I love this movie. I also
I
love
felt like
the cast.
Go ahead.
No, you can talk. We'll talk about the cast shortly.
Well, I was gonna say about Keanu Reeves, like, and his acting in this movie, like
he was young.
It
was 1992. I don't know why I was allowed to watch this movie. Now that I think about it, it was 1992.
Okay, you probably shouldn't have, but like, he just wasn't reacting enough for somebody who's trapped in a castle with vampires and who's realizing that he's trapped in a castle with vampires.
Like, imagine the reaction of all of Lucy's boos had they been in that same situation.
They would have lost their shit,
They
especially
would
with
have
the
ran
Texan. He would
away.
have
The Texan,
everything.
he would have. I mean, the Texan would have absolutely smashed the vampire chicks. Like, I won't say that any of them would have been able to resist that, but I also think that they would have tried way harder to get out because, like, the way that they were going hard for Miss Lucy, like
They love some
Jonathan didn't
Lucy.
do that, and Lucy wasn't even putting out that we know of.
Yeah, I think that was the whole thing, was that she wasn't. She was just teasing it.
She's
Why
like,
did
I
I
know
just
how
go
to talk to
blurry?
boys and make them know what they want. I know.
No, it was
Uh,
blurry for a second. I'm good now.
yeah, she's like, I know what men want. Watch this. Watch me be a tease.
And then she
And
just bounces from guy to guy,
they
and
love her for
they
it.
love it.
They're like, oh, I mean, because I guess they know that it's like a competition. They were all on the thread earlier. They're like, all right,
I
first
love
one
it.
to
She's
get.
like, I'm nearly 20 and still unwed.
I know. Thanks, Luce. Thanks, Luce. Um,
Like, yeah, Luce, you're practically a hag.
practically a hag. The old Spencer life just goes downhill from here. But like, she's rich. She would have been fine. But I love that she chose Carrie. What's his name? Quint.
Carrie Eloise. I
Carrie
don't remember what
Eloise.
his name was.
I think no, Quint was the Texan. Whatever. Richard? I don't know, whatever.
I don't know.
That she chose him for her boo because she was like, girl, all these other guys are hot, but he's got lands and titles. He is a landed lord. Like, yeah, no, the American, like, whatever, that's oil money. Like, and like this doctor, like, he's gonna come home smelling like a insane asylum.
And
No,
also, he was shooting up morphine. So like,
yeah,
there's that whole thing. Like, he's
there is that whole
an
thing, which we
addict.
don't even like get talked about. We just like watched it happen once because I was like, yo, what is up with this dude when he's in the cell with Renfield and he's like taking notes, and I'm like, you on
Yeah,
that
he like
shit?
he shoots up morphine.
Mhm. But maybe you have to because, like, if you're working in those estate, like this was before like all the reforms where you had to treat people who were in asylums humanely, and just like watching them like wash them down with hoses and just like torture, like, cruel and unusual punishment just for being a little bit off, if you were even a little bit off. And like I can't imagine having like being married to someone who's going to come home smelling like 1800s asylum every day. Like, you can still be my doctor because I know maybe you'll wash your hands before you come over, but like to come home
Maybe.
like that, yeah, poor
Yeah, it's
Richard.
pretty gross.
Pretty gross.
But yeah, we definitely didn't get into the whole like him shooting up morphine enough.
Yeah, no, we just like it's implied that he's an addict,
Yeah.
and maybe his mentor's like, boy, why don't you think he would be? Van Helsing would be so disappointed in him.
Van Helsing was a little crazy too.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love when Anthony Hopkins gets to like while out.
He's like, yes, I cut off her head. I cut her heart out, and then I cut off her head.
And he's just like, what?
Pass the roast.
Eat, eat, eat. We've got long, dark days ahead. And she's like, oh my God, not in front of the woman.
Let's talk about Dracula seducing her like incredibly easily.
I mean, well, we already knew that she was loose in the corset, so but
like he barely tried.
He didn't try because, well, first of all, he like, when he was sort of raping her friend, he was like, oh no, he starts like, don't see me. And she was like, why are you outside? Let's go back in. And then later he was like, see me as my young hot self. I posted these selfies and shit. Look at me. And she's
my
like,
angles.
Skibbity jawline and all that. No, wait, it's called something else. Shit. I forgot what there's a name for it. It'll come back to me. Somebody taught me the appropriate or the correct name for it. Mewing. Yes, I have a nephew who's 11.
Yeah, I'm old.
Yeah. And he's like, see me, only me. And I gotta give it to her. She tried to put up a little fight at first. She was like, sir, who are you? Why are you stalking me? Please get out of my way. Don't talk to me like I have a husband. And he was like, oh, you know what? You're right. My bad. And then she's like, but wait, he was hot. Come back. I was so rude.
Do you know what I love that he did when she's crying? And he wipes her tears and opens his hands and it's diamonds.
Diamonds. Ah,
I was like, swoon.
smooth.
How can
Makes
you
you want
not
to cry
swoon
all the
over a
time,
handful
huh?
of diamonds? Right.
Like, why is your wife always crying? He's like, I don't know. I get it. Figure it out. Meanwhile, she's got like a mink with an 18-foot train.
Oh, I want a hooded mink with a
Hey,
train.
that would be wild.
That would probably cost like $30,000.
No, you want to
So
level
my
up.
Cash App is
Ah, yeah. But she doesn't put up much of a fight because he is so. I mean, first of all, he's a vampire, right? She doesn't really know that yet. But he's very enchanting. But you know what got her? The same line that gets everybody on all those dating shows, 90 Day Fiance, all those international ones. Prince blood.
hmm She heard
Mhm,
that little accent. She's like, "Ooh, foreigner."
mhm. The chastity belt dropped right off. Clink, clink, clink.
Yeah. Yeah.
Prince, you don't say. Yeah, no, that gets him every time. But he was very charming and he was very handsome and he had those stylish little glasses on. And I was like, okay,
How much
fashion.
of it was his own charm and how much of it was him magically charming her?
I think that he, even as like his old uh, straight out the grave self, that he was very charming to Jonathan. Scary, but charming. But I do think that there was a deal of a fair amount of hypnosis involved. But there's
Yeah.
something to be said for meeting somebody who you feel like you've met before, like a sense
hmm
of deja vu. I've met people who I'm like, geez, I feel like I've known you forever, you know?
hmm
And you're more inclined to be open to them. I haven't met a guy that I was like, I feel like I've known you forever because I don't know. I actually don't. I'd have to think about how I would actually respond to that. I'd be like, that's probably how I'd respond to it. Like, you must be a vampire. Here, hold my rosary. um, but I think that he was, not only was he charming, he was like off the bat very protective of her. He's like, no, walk on the inside of me. Let me guide you through this crowd. Um, let
He
me
knows how
force
to treat
myself
it.
upon you after the movies.
Yeah, like he took her to a porno.
Yeah, yeah. Which reminds me of What We Do in the Shadows. If you guys have not seen the episode where Laszlo recounts his very extensive career in the pornographies. Um, please check it out because that's just funny. It consists of a lot of ah!
I wish you could have gone to the panel.
Oh,
It
don't
was so good.
no.
We need to do a Comic-Con
We're
stream
gonna do a
sidebar.
Comic Con stream. We're gonna do a recap like tomorrow, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know when.
But yeah, I hold on a second. I have my allergies are so
Computer's
bad.
doing things.
But yeah, I think yeah, no, he took her to the movies where they were showing nudies because, like
Because
how
that's where
else
you
do you
take a
shock
lady on a
people?
date.
I mean, there were other ladies there. There were other ladies there. It's a
Were
novelty.
they ladies
Yeah, I think so.
or were they trollops?
No, I think there were ladies. I think there were ladies because
Mhm.
it wasn't like, oh, let's sneak in the back. It's like, let's walk right in. Everybody knows what this thing is. It's the modern marvel of these pictures that move. ah! But yeah, and it's going really well. And then he's like pushes her to not that he pushes her, they glide to the back, which
Mhm.
leads me to my question. Teeth Duppy. At which point do you go, something's not right with this dude?
The moment we start gliding, like, how the fuck did you just do that?
Or the point for me, it would have been, oh, charmed to meet you. Let me go on my way. And now you're in front of me.
Yes, Duppy. I'd be like, ah, Duppy.
I was like,
No,
you're
no, no,
hot,
no,
but
no.
how did you
I'm
get
not gonna run
here?
away now. You're in front of me
How
again. That's crazy.
did you? And you want me to
Get
go?
here. No,
Mm,
that would have been a moment where I'm like, oh, so a Duppy. Okay. That's what
Yeah.
we're dealing with here.
And so then they're in there, and he's like, his inner beast is literally being unleashed. Like I feel like the wolves running around are a metaphor for his dick on parade. And she's like, "No, please stop. Don't do this." Legs.
No,
Legs akimbo.
no, no,
Please,
no,
no,
please,
stop.
no,
We
no, don't.
shouldn't.
Yeah,
Wet ray.
Mina got on my nerves. I was like, girl, put up a little more resistance than this. Because she went on and on about how much she loves Jonathan and
Well,
how much she
is
wants to
she
get
in love with him or is
married.
she
And
infatuated with him? She's infatuated. She wants to get dick down. She's over here on the side reading Arabian Nights. She's
yeah,
basically like studying the Kama Sutra, like, oh my God, when is it my turn?
I loved that scene. They're like, can you even do that?
Meanwhile, everyone's taking notes.
How long
Um,
was Lucy getting ravished? Like how many nights? Not like
oh,
just that one night. Like
I don't
how
know.
long? Because they had talked about her. She had mentioned having sexy dreams.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I guess she'd been groomed.
Poor Lucy. She got a raw
Mm-hmm.
deal.
Mm-hmm. She really did. I was like, she was just this carefree, lucky girl who had lots of money. She was gonna marry well. She was like the belle of the ball, even if she was old. And yeah, just
Old.
because she was friends with Mina, she got beheaded and beast fucked. Yeah, we can't be friends. With friends like that, who needs enemies? For real, for real.
Like I
Um,
literally got beast fucked because I'm your friend. Like it was unnecessary. Why did he do anything to Lucy? Now that I think about it, like all of that was unnecessary.
yeah, he could have just like swept in and like met Mina on the streets like he did.
Yeah, like why did he have to, you know?
He didn't really have to do Jonathan like that either, but I understand you want, your
Well,
competition out
he
of the
needed
way.
to get Jonathan out the picture. So that I
Yeah,
get.
but he could have stranded him anywhere, or been effective, like tie fucking cement shoes and drown him in the river. Like, don't give
There's
him a chance
that.
to come back. Um, or let the girls get him completely.
Yeah, drain him.
Drain
Kill
him.
him.
Drain him. Make him a vampire. Make him a vampire
Make
without the
him a
knowledge of how to
vampire.
travel. Because, like, how is he gonna get across the ocean? Jonathan, he doesn't have means. That's why he came out for this job anyway. Shout out capitalism. But um, yeah, yeah. Van Helsing is a whole interesting character. It's like when we first encounter him, he's like giving the lecture in the medical school. The vampire bat bites him on the fingers, and he just goes.
Yeah, that was really gross.
I was like,
I'm like,
ew,
really?
rabies. You
It
put your finger.
reminded me of that movie Contagion.
So you put your fingers
Remember
in your
that?
mouth twice after that. Speaking of Humpy, how about when Van Helsing gets down with Mina at the end, where they're standing by the fire, and she's like, "I know that
Oh,
Lucy
when she
wanted
starts,
you," and he's like, "Mm, mm, mm, mm."
he was like, what?
He was like, "Mm, mm, You're like, yo, wait, don't you know that this is part of the game? Like, are you really falling for this?
Like
Like
Van
nobody, and
Helsing, I
why did they leave
expected
you
better from
alone?
you.
I did too. I did too. But he was also like, when's the next time I'm gonna get to kiss like a Dracula's bride? YOLO. I
The
can't with him.
scene where she's sucking Dracula's blood, but like we can't see him. I
Oh
started
yeah.
laughing at her, just like
It's so funny. That's so
she
funny.
looked so crazy. Can you
But where he
imagine walking in on that? And
I
then he
don't know.
turns into a pile of rats, and I'm like, you still want him? He just turned into a pile of rats.
Yeah, the part where she's doing that and they can't and you can't see him, but then like he pops down like this. If I ever
Mhm.
like that jump scare is classic. It gets me every I watched it when I was before we started. I went,
Yeah, when you screamed, yeah.
it gets me every time. But yeah, no, if I walked in on somebody doing that, I would look and I would close the door and back out and walk, and then I would text you. Unless it was you I walked in on doing that, then I'd be like, who am I supposed to call?
Ghostbusters.
like, what do I do now? I feel like your husband wouldn't believe me. He would think that I was making like I was
I
in
think
on
he'd believe you.
a new prank.
No, I think he'd believe you. He
Think he believe
definitely
me?
expects the worst.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
you guys should introduce a vampire clause to your wedding contract.
Like it's time for a redraft. A little
Hmm.
overdue.
Yeah. Let me think about who else. What else happened here that was fun? I mean, nobody really talks about the fact that all they seem to feed on is like prospective lovers and babies.
Yeah. What's up with the where did Lucy even get a baby?
She was out running the streets.
And then when she just dropped it, I was like, bitch.
I mean, given the time that they were living in, I feel like she probably just found like a little urchin in the gutter. Was like, oh, mom can't afford this one. Zoop.
Lunch.
Yeah, yeah, and even Dracula gives them back. Chantal, Haitian princess. Oh, well, please watch it again. All of this shit happens. I wish we were making it up, but we're totally not. But you know what? But you know what? As now that I think about it, the whole scene where she's like, sucking his blood nipples is they reference that in Interview with the Vampire, the movie, because when Louis and Lestat, like there's like a whole slit the thing and scene that happens, which is a movie I haven't seen in a long time. I love that movie. Me and my sisters used to quote that. Shout out to
I
Bess.
asked Dar if I could have some of his blood.
I
And he was like,
remember.
what do you want it for? And I was like, blood magic. And then he was like, no, you can't have my blood. And I'm still a little offended by that.
Yeah. I
A
thought
little
you'd
bit.
want to do like something more interesting with. I mean, blood magic is really interesting. But you'd be like, I'm gonna clone you.
It's
Like
just some
why?
kind of blood magic. I don't know what exactly. Just give me some blood. You don't need all of it.
It's true. But what if he gave you like an old band-aid
No, I
and
want it
was like,
fresh.
you didn't specify.
We'd have to fight.
The devil's in the details.
Well, that's why I do what I do.
That's true. That
I
is
would
why you
have
do what
all the
you do.
clauses written in to make it clear exactly how I want this blood delivered.
Fresh in a container with the plasma was shaken with the plasma. Still fresh, low white cell count.
I need to be able to, it needs to be in a condition where I could do blood magic with it.
I mean, but what kind of condition, like, what is the condition, like, required for blood magic? Like,
I don't know.
some wild shit. I don't
I'm
does it have
afraid to
to be
Google
fresh?
that. I feel
Yeah,
like if I
no.
Google that, I'll end up on a watch list.
I feel like there are worse things you can Google.
Well, definitely.
Somebody would just be like, this bitch just believes in ghosts. Ha ha. I feel like it wouldn't be that bad. Yeah. Blood magic. What else? Like, what else happened? Like, I just love this movie. I love the writing. The accents are, they leave a lot to be desired in some.
Yeah, the accents
people.
were definitely awful, but I loved how overly dramatic everyone was, except for Keanu Reeves was
I
not.
would love to see this version of Dracula as an opera.
Oh
I
yeah,
feel like it'd be incredible.
yeah, definitely.
Not a musical, an opera.
Yeah,
No shade
definitely.
to musicals, but like I need
Oh, I
an
love
opera.
musicals, but no, but I get what you mean.
Mm-hmm. When you steal this idea from me, I expect you to give me credit. I will help you write the libretto, and I want box seats on opening night.
I think that's fair.
That was my scary smile, but you can't see that my eyes are red. They just look really brown, but I
Yeah, they
promise
do
they're
just look
red.
really brown.
Yeah. Yeah, love this movie. I should watch it once a year. It makes me happy when I watch it because also we always shout out the music. Shout out to the score. It's just so lush and romantic. And I think they do a good job, even though this is totally horror, they do a really good job at keeping the romance alive in it. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
eventually Mina's like, no, actually, I made a mistake. It's you who I want. It's you who I've always loved. Always, always, always. Hashtag Snape. Always loved. And and she's looking for a map. Let's write it together, boo. Um, and that I thought was really sweet. But you know what I thought was also interesting was the fact that we just kind of like glaze over the fact that she did. I feel like when you talk about absinthe, I feel like it's like you did absinthe, not that you drank absinthe.
Yeah,
And
it's
as
a
someone who has
process.
consumed absinthe, like, you know, shit does get weird. It does get weird. If it when it's the real stuff, shit does get weird. Um, but she's out here talking to wolves and all these other things.
Where was her family?
Mina, I think she was poor. Remember? She was poor. She was just
But
I think
didn't no, but Jonathan thought he was too poor to marry her.
but she was still Lucy's poor friend. Better more
So
well
she was
off
just
than Jonathan,
relatively poor
but just poor compared to
compared to rich ass
compared
Lucy.
to Lucy. So it's like it's in that E.M. Forster book, A Room with a View, where the girl is like doing the grand tour of Europe as one does when you come out into the world, and she's got the chaperone with her who's always like, I know that she's like her mom's poor cousin who's basically out there being a spinster or whatever, and she's always like making her feel like poor. But yeah, so Nina's family is just out there. Who knows what? She's like, go, this girl's getting married. She's out of her hair. Maybe she has like 7 brothers and sisters who they're like, all right, whew, that one's gone. Now we got to figure out the rest of them, like Bridgerton or some shit.
I just feel like, a lot of things could have been avoided if Mina had had a
Maybe
chaperone.
they all died. Maybe they all died. And that's why she's out to be in the world and so eager to get married. Because, you know, for a woman who was unmarried at that time has like 0 freedoms.
Right.
Like, who's
I
going to
kind of
pay
want to
for
read
those
the book now.
potions? Let's do it. We should do it for book club.
Yeah.
Which is apparently iconic. I believe I'm going to start reading it this evening.
Oh, I'm like
Yeah.
yawning. I'm still
Well,
recovering from Comic-Con, like
talk about
physically.
any final notes on the movie?
Final notes on the movie. I love the campiness. I love the drama. I love the absolutely over the top love that Dracula had for Elisabetta. The fact that it drove him to become this thing. Like, I love that. And it's, he raised the bar. Um, Mina, she could have done better as a bride. She just poor
But maybe it was
Jonathan.
just like she sucked because like Jonathan was not who she was meant for. But also, as I think about this, like Castlevania, the anime, it's like this, right? Like they kill his girl, and he like after that, all bets are off, and this motherfucker goes crazy. That's another one I need to finish
I
because
just feel like Mina made such a big deal about let's get married now, let's get married now. And then he recovers from his things and she's like, all right, let's get married now. And it's like,
it's because she wanted to have sex. It wasn't about the marriage. It was that she wanted to smash without being ostracized for being Mina Slutterina.
yeah.
And that's
And then
okay.
she meets a vampire.
We see this Romeo and Juliet, right? Romeo's all like, "Oh, Rosalind, Rosalind, I wanted to bury my sword in thy sheath." And Rosalind was like, "Whatever, Romeo." And then he was going to die until he saw Juliet. And now, Juliet, let's elope. You kissed me at a party, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't know if it would be in my regular Halloween rotation, but I definitely rewatch.
Yeah. It's an any time of year movie for me, not just Halloween, because vampires are
Should be a
forever.
Valentine's Day
Literally.
movie.
We should have done it for Valentine's Day. Let's do the book for Valentine's Day.
Okay, if we
Let's get
remember, put it
darkness
add it
movie.
to the list.
Probably I can't. My phone is broken.
All right.
You add it to the
I don't even know where the list is. I'm gonna be
Actually, you know
honest.
what? Hold on. I can add it to the list here. Okay, so Comic-Con.
Comic-Con was a blast. I guess we'll do the quick rundown.
Do we have to? Oh yeah, I guess
Yeah.
we are going to stream about it.
Yeah, we can do a stream about it. Overall, I had fun. This is the first time I was there with a friend. That changes the experience a lot. Um, I'll talk about this more when we stream about it, but I do think that the writer strike from last year had a rippling effect on it on Comic-Con this year.
Do tell.
Well, usually there are so many panels that I want to see that I just do like a bunch of backups because they overlap and it's just like not possible. And I feel like I didn't have that struggle this time. And also a lot of the panels I went to, they didn't have um like preview stuff to show, or like, you know what I mean, like first look stuff. And I think that it's like from the delay from last year where they had the first look stuff but couldn't have any of the actors because of the strike, and then everything was put on hold. And so now this year, like, stuff's not done in time to have first look. And that's kind of like a big part of what happens with like the TV and movie panels for Comic-Con is you get first looks at things.
Yeah. I have to say, I was disappointed. I can't remember now. I have to go back and look at the schedule. But there was one of the panels that I went to where they promised, did you go to that one too? Where they promised 10 minutes of like something and then they ran out of time. And they were like, psych, sorry guys.
Was it the House of the Dragon one where they were supposed to do Q&A?
No. It wasn't House of the Dragon. It wasn't Bleach because I got everything. No, was it Bleach? No, it wasn't Bleach. It was something else. Maybe it was Bleach. I don't know. But they were like 10 minutes of blah, blah, blah. And then they were like, actually, nope, that's it. Bye. Clear the room. And we were like, so devastated. But I guess my short version of Comic-Con was that it was my first time and I am still bubbling from it.
So you do it again?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would even pay for it next time.
And if you pay for it, you get more time to do the stuff you that you want to do.
I think about it. As I look,
I always pay for it.
Up the side of my face.
Nope, not weird at all.
Yeah. So what's next?
Next up is Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1978.
1978.
One of my faves. That's one of my like annual rewatch movies, leaning into my replacement phobia, which now I have accepted as a thing.
You know what? I feel like this movie also kind of like has replacement stuff going on. Like Mina's replacing Elizabetta. You know?
This one's more like reincarnation.
Yeah. Replace incarnation. But yes.
I liked that Van Helsing was like the reincarnation of the cardinal or whatever that cursed Elizabetta or announced that she was damned, I guess.
You know, he's been like, I've been waiting for this.
Ooh, I've
been talking about this, passing it down
generation. Make a name for myself,
like Teft. You know,
Stormlight reference.
Speaking of Storm, I mean, I guess we'll talk about that, but we got Stormlight at Comic-Con too, even though it's not DragonSteelCon. Oh well, y'all sold out. If you want us to do it there, you should have held tickets for us.
Maybe one day I'll be able to go to DragonSteelCon.
Man, next year's gonna be my year. I already have a place to
stay. Like just a bad time of year for me.
Early December is a terrible time to have a con.
Yeah.
Especially in a place where it snows a lot.
It's just a bad time for me to be traveling. Because like, who's gonna watch these fucking kids?
If you make them into vampires and make them immortal, they could just fend for themselves. Shout out to the audio that we saw.
You want me to have a permanent 3-year-old? Why would you wish that kind of evil on me? You know what he did today?
No.
He climbed my table that has my record player on it to get to a planter that I tucked all the way in the back of the windowsill to keep away from him. And he ate the dirt and rubbed it all over his body. I was working and I just happened to turn and look and saw that he is on the that he was climbing the window. And I was like, get down from there. And he didn't listen. So I went to go see what he was doing. And I saw him rubbing his hands like this, and it was just dirt. And then I looked at him, and it was dirt down his chest, down his legs, across his face. I opened his mouth. There was dirt in between his teeth. It was on his tongue. I had to use, wrapped a baby wipe on my fingers and was scooping dirt out of his mouth.
So you're saying that he is already a vampire because he was frolicking in his home soil, because he knows that's how he survives.
Well, his teacher told me they made fake dirt with Oreos.
Oh, worms and dirt, huh? Mm. Yeah, maybe try that on kids who are older. Yeah. 3-year-olds don't get that.
But like, you know,
Wow.
I know this is a tangent, but like once you taste that it's not Oreos, like wouldn't you stop?
Some people like dirt.
Well, my kid does.
I
I
mean,
just didn't.
you
I didn't
should give
have
him
these
a
problems
pregnancy
with the first
test.
one. CPS Pika. I just did not have these problems with the first one. You know, I haven't been able to light a candle in like I don't even know how long.
3 years.
Approximately. Whatever time he started moving, so like 2 years and like 3 months or so.
Oh. Yeah. Chantal.
So
here's the thing.
Here's the thing. He's done it with poop, Chantal. He's done it with poop. He had a whole poop goatee. I screamed. It was bad. I wanted to cry. I also had to clean it up, and it was a nightmare. And he was gleeful the whole time. He rubbed it all over his body, all over his face, and in his mouth. And so, yeah, at least wasn't poop this time. And on that note,
actually, can we ask Chantal a question real quick?
Yes.
What would you like to see on a 30 Tuesday?
Ooh, that's a good question.
What would you like to do? And would you like to join us?
Yes. Let's bring on some strangers.
Hey.
I like strangers sometimes.
Like strangers. We met strangers who are now friends at Comic-Con.
I like strangers when I'm with Nikki.
That's because I inflict them upon you. I've gotten really good at becoming friends with strangers. But like all they have to say is like, I know how to read. And I go, oh shit, let's be friends.
Me too.
Actually, no. Shout out to Anna, the woman who was in line with me and Zyra at the Avatar: The Last Airbender panel that we went to, because she's like a math teacher in college, which hats off to you. Shit, I did not make it there. To college, yes. To math in college, not so much. And you know, we were talking about books and different things, and I looked at her. I was like, "Do you want to be friends?" She's like, "I don't really have that many women friends who read." I was like, "Do you want to be my friend?" And she's like, "I want to be your friend." And we're like, "Ah!" And then we were friends, and yeah, now she's gonna be your friend.
Meanwhile, I meet people and I'm like,
I feel like I have like a good vibe radar or whatever. But yeah. So, what would you like to? Oh no, we're still talking about poop there. So Chantal, tell us what you would like. You could slide into our DMs in Twitter, because
yeah, I would definitely crowdsource some 30 Tuesday ideas, and maybe
as long as it's already on our list.
Our list is so long.
Our list is like our bookshelves. No, but it's on my list. I keep checking it out from the library, and it keeps lapsing because I'm reading other things. But if we are given a deadline to meet, then yes, I will. I've heard my cousin's been telling me about the book since before the TV show came out.
I've had the book since before the TV show came out, and I still haven't read it, but I did watch the show, which made me want to read it more. I've had that book for so long in my TBR, just sitting in my Kindle. It was one of my like $1.99 Kindle buys, like I don't remember when, a couple years ago. And I remembered the title because I knew there was a show being made, and I was like, oh, I should read this, and I still haven't gotten to it.
All right, well, just like that. Chantel.
Well, when we do it, you
DM
can join
us
us.
somehow on our Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram, Twitter,
Yeah,
whatever.
Instagram, Twitter.
I read our Twitter DMs.
I read our Instagram DMs, except my phone is broken. But so Instagram.
You reading anything fun right now?
Yes, I am actually. I'm reading Naked in the Rideshare by two a married couple. Actually, let me Google them. Naked in a ride or in the ride share. Naked in the Rideshare by Ben Ben Cronengold and Rebecca Shaw, who I believe are also writers for SNL, and it is hilarious. It's a collection of short stories, and they talk about coming of age stuff. They talk about dating and sex and politics, self-deprecation. They talk about alien invasions and stuff. Like one of the things that they do is they talk about if there was an alien invasion and people are getting abducted for sex, like how to deal that, but in the format of like a Cosmo article, and I was like, it's hilarious. So I'm reading that right now. I'm listening to The Way of Kings because for some insane reason, I believe I'm going to make it through the rest of the other three books before Winds of
Before
Truth comes
December
out.
6th.
I'm going to read at 2 times speed if I have to get there since I know the book so well.
I'm like 80% through Rhythm of War.
Yeah. Man, you're so close.
So close.
Scream Sight. I just finished reading Scream Sight by Justina Ireland, which is one of her YA horror stories that I found out about who knows how somehow recently. And I have a couple other books that I've been kind of trying to go back to. One of them being Deca.
Oh,
Merciless Ones.
I am the Nuru.
Yeah, Merciless. And you know what else I started going back, even though you told me how it ends and I don't remember? The other one that was a fucking thorn in my side.
Oh, the sequel to Good Luck Girls.
Yeah, the sequel to Good Luck Girls. I decided to give it another shot, but I'm already irritated. So, but if it'll help me meet my quota to win my good reads challenge, then
I
yeah.
I
Oh, you
already
know
passed
what?
mine.
There's a book that I started reading. Let me go get it because I don't remember the name. I got it
I
last time we were
just
at the
got
bookstore.
I'm about to reread Black Sun so that I can read the sequel. And I just got Clara and the Sun from the library, and it's about like an AI person looking for love or looking for a friend. Can't really remember. It's called Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. And I can't remember how I found out about it, but I put it in my library holds, and so now I have it, so I have to read it. And yeah, so that I have Black Sun. I need to finish Never Whistle at Night. And I have such a long
If you missed
TBR.
stuff about My Never Miss Slow Life, we covered that on book club 2 weeks ago. So it's
Yes.
in our playlist. Check that out.
Yes.
Um, I'm reading Jim Henson's biography, which I keep picking up and putting down, but it's just if you know me, you know I love the Muppets and
Mhm.
I have aspirations. Hi Jackie, of
Hey,
making that
Jackie.
a highlight of my career at some point. And his biography is really inspiring. But when I went to see our friend's performance, there was a bookstore, so of course I went in. I meant to like get a book and I bought like 5. But this was one of them. Dreaming of You by Melissa Lozanda Oliva. And it's it's a young Latinx poet grappling with loneliness and heartache decides one day to bring Tejano pop star Selena back to life. The seance kicks off an uncanny trip narrated by a chorus of gossiping spirits as she journeys through a dead celebrity prom, encounters her shadow self, and performs karaoke in hell. And the best part of it is that it's a novel written in verse. So, right up my fucking alley. And here, look, there's a chapter called I'm So Lonely I Grow a New Hymen. So,
Oh,
indeed, my alley. Straight up. Super fun.
I'll tell you so Clara and the Sun from her place in the store. Clara, an
Oh, you know,
artificial friend.
I'm sorry. Hold on, real quick. Um, Chantel, no, just email us.
thousandeyespodcast@gmail.com.
You know, don't get hacked again. Jackie, totally check it out. Oh, sorry, Chantel. Check it out. It's really good. Like I got just a couple pages in and I was like, you know, I got to put this down and finish these other things. Sorry, Tanya, please.
Oh yeah, the Clara and the Sun. From her place in the store, Clara, an artificial friend with outstanding observational qualities, watches carefully the behavior of those who come in to browse and of those who pass on the street outside. She remains hopeful that a customer will soon choose her, but when the possibility emerges that her circumstances may change forever, Clara is warned not to invest too much into the promise of humans. So that, and I have another one that I want to read right away.
Promise of Humans. Or the Curse of
Them. It's by Cadwell Turnbull. It's called The Lesson. Was it that the one? Hold on, I'm going to tell you right now.
I got another
yes,
one.
The Lesson. It's one that's based in St. Thomas, the U.S. Virgin Islands. So that caught my eye.
Brother.
Yes, I caught my eye. It's called The Lesson by Cadwell Turnbull. That's also on my list to read soon.
Mad Caribbean name.
I know it is. But yeah, so that's our Dirty Tuesday.
I also have a folk horror anthology that, to be completely honest, I've been too scared to open.
I have
it
one
looks like
called...
the shit in there is really scary. And so I haven't opened it yet, but I will sometime this week, maybe. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna sneeze.
Achoo! Gesundheit.
Excuse me.
There it is. Yeah, that's been our stream.
That's been our
Invasion
stream.
of the Body Invasion of the Body Strappers.
Invasion of the Body Strappers. That sounds like the X-rated version.
It's the one on Pornhub.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Thanks, Jackie.
1978, next Tuesday.
Felt appropriate.
And then we're playing D&D, Dungeons and Draft House, on November 3rd.
Oh, I got scared like it was a Sunday, and I was like, oh no.
No. After Halloween.
After Halloween.
We're table 4 as always. I guess I could post the link.
As always. Yeah, please drop the link. Yeah, and so Invasion of the Body Snatchers you can watch on what's it streaming on now? Was it Tubi?
It was on Amazon,
or Fossum or Amazon. Like it's moved around because you know they like to make money off of the things. They're like, oh, what? It's Halloween. Give that back. So find it, but you can watch it anywhere. And if you enjoy it, also check out the 1956 version of it. Also really good. I really like that one too. Shout out to the fashion in that movie. So yeah, I think that's it.
Yay!
I'm ready to go wipe the powder off my face.
Yeah, I got it.
And take out these contacts. I'm gonna struggle.
I'm ready to go to bed because after 4 days of Comic-Con, I am not recovering as quickly as I used to.
Yo, I am so tired.
Dude.
All right. I'm going to go see if the Knicks beat the Celtics or the Celtics beat the Knicks. I'm pretty sure the Celtics beat the Knicks, considering what the score was when I last saw. But who knows? Either way, I'll be happy.
Genuinely surprised it's not on. I just assumed it was on.
You know what? I turned it off because it was the backlight was like fucking up my dark, spooky vibes.
Gotcha.
I sacrificed the game for the look.
Wow, I respect it.
Leo.
All right, good night. And happy birthday again, Jackie.
Happy birthday, Jackie.
Bye.
Bye.